and welcome to the first episode of the new series on Streellingo. Often on Streellingo, you guys have always reacted very strongly, positive or negative, but very strongly to topics related to marriage, in laws, and working women. So I thought that we should start our next phase of the Streellingo series with these topics in mind. Today, I have Kamini with me. Kamini is, besides a working woman, she is a very, very happy daughter. She's a very, very happy wife, and she's a very, 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 very happy daughter in law. And although we may think that such combinations are not possible, I have given you a live example today. So, Kamini, welcome to the first episode of Streellingo, and I'm so excited to be starting this with you. How do you feel today?
Thank you so much, Smita. I feel amazing. Thank you for having me here. And I'm glad you think I'm one of those examples,
Yes.
though rare, but yeah, it's quite a privilege to be here. Thank you.
How do you manage to be happy on all three fronts, Kamini? Okay, we are all happy daughters, 99% of us. So I'm going to leave that aside for a minute. Let's
Yeah.
just come down to happy wife and happy daughter-in-law. How do you manage that, Kamini? Where does that come from? How did that stem?
So basically, the very first thing I would like to say is when you are a happy daughter, the upbringing really matters. Um, I have been brought up by a single mother, and but when I was born to her, she was barely 2021, so I was actually brought up by my nanny. So the one thing that she always mentioned, it was not like on purpose that she used to tell me this, but my mother, my masi, my mommies, everybody who's married into the house, and she just said that the moment you consider this as your own house, you will not see each day as a challenge, but you will see each day as a beautiful day ahead of you, just like how you see it in your own house. So, of course, she passed away when I was very young, but I have always seen the women in my house not being like, so it's not when I say women in my house, I'm not talking about just my mother or my masi. I am talking about all the other two women who are married into my house. I see them literally sitting and chit-chatting the way probably you and I would, if we meet at a cafe or somewhere. Or maybe even it could be a possibility that, something like this would happen. We just, how the friends sit, have a conversation over a cup of coffee or a chai. It's that. Of course, those sites are rare to find, but that is how I have grown up. And also we have always been in a very close knitted family, so that is my daughter phase. Now when I come into this, you always have a thought process in your head, thinking this is how I want the house to be where I get into as well. So which is why I feel that first of all, that thought process that I entered into the house was easy. Second thing is, like you clearly mentioned, 99% of us are very happy as daughters. No matter how our family is, or the way they behave, we don't judge. Why? Because families are not to judge. But we do take the privilege of judging the family that we enter into, right? If we don't do that, that is exactly where our second hurdle is crossed.
That's
You
such
know?
a strong statement you made because it's very, very true. For most
Yeah,
people, there are so many
yeah,
preconceived notions about their marital home that, when they get married and they have to enter
yeah.
the marital home, they are already entering with a lot of baggage. In your case, you
Correct.
entered with the teachings of your nanny that now
Yeah,
you're entering this home, treat this as your own. You have your own
absolutely.
good place. This also should be your another good place.
Absolutely. And now coming to as wife, I am touchwood blessed with the most amazing husband
I
any girl would
know.
ever ask for. Correct. So any girl would ever ask for. He's my best friend. I don't think there's anything that I don't talk to him about under the sky. Till date, it was not just when we were friends, not just when we were dating. but it's still late, and we're 3 years married now, right? So before we got married, there was a lot of conversations, and I feel that that is so important, right? Because our families are extremely different. We are extremely different. But marriage is something that needs to come to a common ground. And this is where the conversation comes into the picture and the common ground is created. And so he knew that there will be a lot of adjustments. I knew there would be a lot of adjustments, but he ensured that it is not going to happen. सिर्फ तू ही adjustments करेगी, मैंने तो क्या ही करना है, मैं तो वही रहता हूँ. He didn't have that. I still remember each day. He doesn't like to wake up early in the morning. He wants to chill, be in his space. The way the boys are, that's how he exactly is. But he ensured each day, every minute, he is there right beside me to ensure that I am comfortable right from day one in that house. We have faced a lot of medical challenges in the house. It's not him and I, but my mother-in-law has been sick, quite often. He's not just an amazing husband, he is even better a son. Okay. So, but he ensured that as much as he's taking care of my mother-in-law, he is not neglecting or avoiding me completely. Whenever there is that time that we have, that is purely ours. That conversation is ours. That moment is ours. So, yes, as a wife, he made my life easy. Now, about my in-laws. And because we live all of us together, it's not just him and I. So, here I would say this is a two-way relationship. I will never say that it only has to be the girl who gives the 100%. The family also needs to accept. Especially, arranged marriages may at one point in time, they're still okay. Love marriages may even they have a preconceived notion.
Yes.
She's a modern woman. She's going to be working. She's a working woman. She's a modern woman. You know me. I'm not the typical girl with a salwar kameez or a sari or whatever. I wear whatever I want to wear and whatever I'm comfortable with. So all of those kind of need to be married together. So till that they since so when I'm married, there has been a little bit of gap, but I think I have, again, like my mother-in-law, she's like the queen in the house and a queen of acceptance. She has ensured that my daughter-in-law is not my daughter-in-law, she's my daughter. So even today, when we sit and we talk, it's literally my sister-in-law whenever she visits us. So it's my sister-in-law, Suraj, and I, we're sitting and we're having a conversation like she has 3 kids. It's not like they are my kids and you need to be in the kitchen or do whatever, those sort. So it needs to be so as much as, yes, it was a roller coaster ride, but it was a nice bumpy ride. Sometimes you enjoy that, don't you?
Of course.
But it's, yeah, so it's as much as I have like I would say I have gone with a non-judgmental or a not no preconceived notion about the family or my day-to-day life in the beginning, there has also been acceptance on the other side which said, let's give her a chance, let's see how things go. And and touch wood, and I'm very proud to say that, and I can say it out loud today after 3 years of my marriage, that there has not been a single fight between my mother-in-law and I. There has not been a single argument between us, and every single time she tells me something, we smile at each other, and then I'm on my way back, doing whatever. So yeah, so that.
Kamini, these things will seem, first of all, unbelievable to some,
Yeah,
because the other word for mother-in-law is monster-in-law.
that's because
So if
you
my
see
mother
those
became,
TV,
yeah,
yeah,
could be
those TV shows and all of that. Every TV show is that.
the
I do not know the
monster-in-law, na?
recent ones, but
Yeah.
like, when you were growing up and you were seeing it, and it's like, they have shown that the father-in-law needs to be the perfect the way the father is, but the mother-in-law is a bitch. Why? Like, why? But yeah,
I just think that if my mother would become a mother-in-law, so is my mother also going to turn into a monster-in-law? Because my mother is a nice, everybody's mother is nice
yeah,
to them, but my mother is
correct.
also a nice human being.
Yeah,
But see, that's why I said, Your words will seem unbelievable to
Yeah.
some will resonate. I think few will resonate. And very important thing that you mentioned here is that both have to come together. So
Yeah.
it cannot be only you, because you are the new
Yeah.
entrant in that house.
Correct.
Also the in-laws have to make sure that you feel accepted. It's
Yeah.
a give and take relationship. One
Absolutely.
very nice thing that you said, Kamini, is that your mother-in-law and you have never fought. You know,
Mm.
I think that obviously she and you are nice people. You all have
Yeah.
adjusted with each other. Another thing could be that you all have a common sense of respect for each other, which is very, very
Absolutely.
important for any kind of relationship, be it
Any
siblings, be it
relationship.
parents, be it husband wife, be
Absolutely.
it in-laws and daughter-in-law, mother-in-law. Respect is essential in any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you're saying this, because there are good daughters-in-law and there are good mothers-in-law. There are bad daughters-in-law and there are
Yeah.
bad mothers-in-law.
Yeah.
So, when I just, through this episode, I want to tell my Streellingo family that when you think of getting married, don't look
Mm.
at other people's experiences
Yeah.
and come up with a
Absolutely.
judgment at the back of your mind and get inside
In
your
fact,
marriage
I
home.
would say in any walk of life, never look at somebody else's life. Oh, you know what? This person did this, and that's why the person is now living
Hmm,
this life.
hmm,
No, it doesn't have to work with you like that. Because your journey of how many ever years of your life has been very different from the other person. Things that
correct.
could have worked out for that person wouldn't work out for me,
Hmm,
right? Because I'll be honest, I have a lot of friends who were married before I did, right? Because I married when I was 30. So obviously, I think all my friends were already married by the time I was getting married. So there was 10 years of marriage, 5 years of marriage. I'll give you tips. I will tell you what to do. I said, no, I don't want to know. I don't want, because I want to have this as my journey. I don't want this to have be a preconceived journey. Oh, you know what? She told me this is what you need to do when this happens. So I will do this only. Why? Why will I do that? Maybe that is not how it works in this house. Maybe that is not going to work in my family. So, even it's chalo, not only just family, even in terms of husband and wife relationship where there were tips coming in. It was like, I didn't ask for it, but this is how you need to behave. This is what you got to do. But do you know what my relationship is?
correct.
Like, because I honestly, Suraj and my relationship, we don't speak much about it. And the reason being the fact, because we feel that it is our private life, it is our relationship. Whatever you see on Instagram are merely pictures and reels that everybody puts, right? But nobody knows about what our relationship is, what is the core, what is the foundation. So honestly, I do not welcome any sort of suggestions how do I run my relationship, because if it is going well until today, I think we can manage for the next how many ever years we'll live together.
You're
So
carving out
it's,
your own path.
yeah, yeah, and I think everybody needs to do that in terms of me. And when we say relationship between husband and wife, or you're dating or whatever, that needs to be the relationship of the two of you. There can be no person and no third person. It can't be your mother or his. It can't be your father or his. It can't be your sibling or his. You can't have your BFF also in this relationship, because this is yours. The moment there is a third person, and I'm telling you, Smita, with all my past experiences, there is always then a gap, because then you will not be able, because you will not directly go to your partner to talk about anything. You will first talk to that person, your go-to person, and then go to that person. Then you'll think you should, you shouldn't. Then
Hmm.
you will probably filter your words and then go talk to your partner. How will that be a strong relationship? Because today you feel that, okay, maybe this is not, now my BFF is the person I'm going to and talking about it. But no, it needs to be your partner. If it is about your relationship, it needs to be your partner. It could be one of the toughest conversations you will ever have, but that is the only thing that's going to make it stronger.
Hmm.
It's not going to it's not going to weaken the relationship. It's
Communication
going
is
to,
very, very
yeah,
important in a
very
relationship.
important, very, very important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Tell me one more thing, Kamini. I know that your mother-in-law has not been keeping well for a long time. Even before
Yeah.
you entered this family, she was not
Yeah.
keeping.
Yeah.
Now, when you entered this family, I know that you are such a wonderful daughter-in-law to her, you're her daughter only, because another daughter, because right from her medical requirements to whether she needs to be hospitalized, whether she needs nursing care at home, all of that, you are always at the forefront, you know.
Hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you do this because you owe it to Suraj that, it's his mother at the end of the day?
Hmm.
Or do you do this, Kamini, because your mother-in-law has been such a wonderful human being to you that you need to reciprocate with equal amount of love and compassion during her trying times?
Okay, so in this case, I would answer it only in one statement, and that is, do you think I wouldn't have done this if it was my own mother? I would have, right? Then, you know, it's, of course, she's not my biological mother, but I've accepted her as my mother in some way or the other, no? So honestly, irrespective, okay, Suraj's mother, yes, because he's my husband. But other than that, honestly, okay, here's the thing. For me, in my head, I have something for older people. I feel very bad when I see them suffering because they have probably had their share of struggle, good, bad, anything, right? I just have this feeling that nobody needs to suffer, and whenever it comes to this medical thing, you and I, we know how difficult is it for anybody to survive. Like हमको एक बुखार हो जाता है, we can't serve, we want that bed rest and all of that. And then when the medical condition exceeds, then so we don't even know how it goes. So in my head, I do it because she's the mother. Yes, she is lovely, she's amazing and all of that, but first and the foremost thing, she's a mother. She doesn't need to suffer. I will do whatever in my best capacity to ensure she's happy despite of all the medical conditions that she is going through. And that happy has to be the happiness in, because she's the core of the house, right? She's happy, the house is happy. It's just that. So how can she not be, the way she is today? So that.
Really, Kavani, you're breaking so many myths about marriage and in-laws today
Yeah.
over this conversation, and I'm happy you are, because when I write about these things on Streellingo, a lot of people have told me that you are not married. What would you understand about these things? But I have
Correct.
seen my mother with her mother-in-law, my dadi, and
Hmm.
she was
Yeah.
such a wonderful mother-in-law to my mother. So my concept of mother-in-law, although I don't have one, is
Yeah.
one of another mother. That's my idea. But
Correct.
people don't believe me. 90% of the times they will say that no, no, it cannot happen. You are the
Yeah.
example. And that is why this is our first episode. Because
Yeah.
really, I wanted to get a live example and say that you may not have a good mother in law, but
Hmm.
people have good mothers in law out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe sometimes when we think that we don't have something, we just put the blame on somebody else without internalizing as to why we don't have something
Yeah.
good which somebody else has. It could be, if
Yeah.
today somebody doesn't have a good mother-in-law, they could work on that relationship, work on themselves, and get to
Yeah.
a better place. There is nothing that hard work cannot bring. Of course, if the other person, whether it's a daughter-in-law or mother-in-law, is not a nice human being, that's a different story
That's a different
altogether.
story. Yeah.
But we are talking about nice people in general, and if they don't get along, then you can put in hard work, because see, at the end of the day, not only two people marry, two families marry, and if your respective parents are not happy, that couple is not going to be happy. Most likely,
Yeah.
they end up in a divorce also.
Correct.
One thing, Kamini, that I wanted to ask you is, you're well educated, you are earning well, you have a very nice job. Uh, you came from a single mother, because your father had
Yes.
passed away early. So, all of these things, usually they say that if a girl does not grow up with both parents, then maybe that is questionable. If a
Hmm.
girl is earning very well, maybe she's too opinionated and will not be able to adjust.
Yeah.
If girl is too well educated, maybe she will not abide by the culture of our house, all of
Yeah.
these. But now, after being all of these things, coming from a single parent, working hard, having a very good and stable job and being very highly educated, you
Hmm.
came into a joint family to
Yeah.
live with your in-laws.
Hmm.
Were there preconceived notions about you?
There was, and I know the one of them, it was not about the job or the money that I earn, but it was about being more educated than my
Their
husband
son.
is.
Hmm.
Yes. So they always had this. So in the house, we have certain rules that we've kept for the two of us. Okay. Like, so when I talk, I have this Hindi English conversation.
Hmm.
It's the typical Bombay
Yes.
thing, isn't
Huh.
it? Like, while you're talking, you will mix a little Hindi, you'll mix a little English and all. So when I go back to my house, the mother tongue is the language that we speak, so automatically wahi aa jata hai. But here, since everybody is speaking in Hindi, so my Hindi English comes out. So
Okay.
initially when that happened, and my father-in-law thought I'm flaunting my English. Okay. which which I think obviously I wasn't. It was just
You know, it
naturally, I think.
happens. It happens with English.
Yeah,
Some people
yeah,
flaunt it also, but if it's like,
yeah.
English is my go-to language
Ha,
also because I've been
correct.
educated in that language. But yeah, some
Absolutely.
people think you're showing off.
And sometimes even like if you are emotional, and I'm talking to you, then it will be English only. वो हिंदी नहीं निकलता उतना. मतलब I don't know why is it, or maybe it is just like we are trained like that,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
so,
It's the
so I
go-to
don't know.
language for us.
So with Suraj also, when I talk, now Suraj, you know how he is. Once he's in Hindi zone, then so he's like this proper Bombay boy. Now I am in the combination thing, right? So whenever I talk, I'm like, Suraj, I say, listen, you think we should do this and that, and then I know there were these judgmental eyes on me, thinking she's just
Father-in-laws.
flaunting. That's it. Yeah. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, उनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. She's just like, हाँ, she's nice. I like her, and I'm done. It's just हाँ. So basically, her criteria was वो मच्छी खाती है, मेरे पास partner है, I am okay. That. So, but my father, I knew there were these eyes, and then there were also a couple of taunts that came in. जब जब लड़की ज्यादा एजुकेटेड होती है तो फिर वो थोड़ा बहुत तो लड़के को सुनना ही होता है. I used to just laugh and I used to just kind of turn around and get into my room. And I was like, I didn't want to do that, but then I'm like, yeah, okay. But yeah, after a year of while we were married and everything, and I think by that time, a year is a long time that you understand anybody and then you know someone and all that. And then he just, of course, sorry didn't come out, but it was just like, I thought you were like this, but I'm so glad you're not. Because अगर और कोई
Ah,
लड़की होती, or because I've done my higher education abroad, so like अगर कोई और लड़की होती जो बाहर से पढ़कर आती, तो वो तो कोई और ही अलग ही एटीट्यूड दिखाती. तो मैंने हमेशा यही देखा है, तो मुझे लगा आप भी ऐसे ही हो. So
oh.
then I just laughed it off. I mean, I didn't know what to do. So because
That's so like, what do I say? I'm not finding the word. That is so generous of him to
yeah,
actually acknowledge the fact that,
yeah,
this is what I thought about you, but you turned out to be something else.
somebody else, yeah.
Not
But
too many people are generous with their thoughts and actions,
correct,
in
correct.
accepting their thoughts and actions. Wow.
And especially if you're an older person, you don't, because you
Did you
think that
feel
I'm
proud?
right and I can't. I'm so proud. I'm telling you, since so again, considering being a daughter, you think that you can conquer the world, but when you're married, you realize there is another world also that you
Hmm.
still have to conquer. And then each day that I was passing by, and each day that I was doing things that I didn't do earlier, I was like, shit, I'm so good. I didn't know this was I could do it, or I can, I can do it, or I used to always think, हो पाएगा नहीं हो पाएगा, I've never done this earlier, can this happen or not? But it just went so smooth. Thanks to the family that I'm married to. Without them, I'm sure I would have been in a disaster. But it was so smooth. Like, honestly, like even today, I don't feel I'm married for 3 years. you know I still feel I'm dating this man and probably in a live-in relationship with a family, but that's how it is. Like, that is a feeling they have given me, and all I can give is the love, right?
Of course. Yeah.
That's the bare minimum that is being expected out of me. So yeah.
There are, Kamini, there are so many things that we discuss on Streellingo, and one of the topics that we us on and off is working women, right? So
Yeah.
now, through a lot of messages that I have received from Streellingo members, I have come to know that once a working woman is married, sometimes
Mm,
the people who have written to us, they have said that
mm,
when when they got married, they realized that their salary now cannot be spent on their parents without the
yeah.
permission of their husband and in-laws. So
Mm,
I had never seen something like this. So I was a little taken aback, but because not one, at least a couple of such,
yeah.
messages came, we decided to put up a post on this, and a lot of people had a lot of reactions agreeing
Yeah.
to this. That means it happens. In your case, before you got married, you were taking care of your mother and your house.
Yeah.
After you got married, what were the what was the financial understanding between you and Suraj, which helped you guys to navigate the initial phase of married life?
Okay, so again, like I began with the conversation that a lot of conversation that we have had before we got married. One such conversation that I didn't, but he brought up, and I quote the words that he said was, "तू सिर्फ शादी करके घर आ रही है, तेरा लाइफ में कुछ नहीं बदलने वाला मैं. You will still be doing what you have been doing earlier. Okay, we're just staying together. Okay, in this house, I have been taking care of things. I will continue to do it. Your family needs you, your house needs you will continue to do that. So there will be nothing that was going to be different. So today, after so in these 3 years of marriage, there has not been a single day or a month that I have not taken care of my mother or the house. And Suraj has told me, okay, now this is done, this is it, now you need to stop doing that and come, now all your attention needs to be. No, that has not happened.
Wow.
uh, Again, that's what I'm being lucky. But this is how it is. I still take care of my house. Over the weekends I still go,
That's
ensuring that my
another
mother
thing
is
because a
okay.
lot of people say that
Yes.
they get judged for going to their parents' house after marriage. So you
And
go
that's
every weekend to be with your mother, Kamini,
yeah.
and that's an
Yes.
understanding that you and Suraj have, and your in-laws are
Yes.
also supportive of it.
Absolutely, because so every like Friday I go and Sunday, until and unless Suraj and I we have a plan and we are going on a weekend getaway. But otherwise, every weekend I do go home, ensuring everything that my mother needs is in place. She's all right. I'm also chilling with my mother. That still happens. My mother-in-law, in fact, kind of wraps some machi and everything in the house, and she'll ensure that my mother has it. So, all of that. So it has never been. In fact, there are times when my mother-in-law also accompanies me to my house. She doesn't stay because, of course, her medical requirements are here, but she'll come, she'll chill a day with us, and then Suraj and she, they go back home, and I'm still there in the house with my mother. And over the week, like on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, then I'm back. It's that.
Listening to you
But
make marriage seem so easy. The journey of marriage seems so easy. I know
so
that
let's just
it's
say,
not,
yeah,
it's
it's easy,
not, but
but
you know why I'm
yeah,
saying it seems easy? Because you've navigated everything so beautifully. You've broken
yeah,
preconceived notions about working women. You've broken
yeah,
preconceived notions about in-laws. You've
yeah,
broken preconceived notions that modern women have in their head about living in joint families.
yeah,
And after 3 years of marriage, uh, I think if you do a survey of how many women will complain about their husband versus how many women will, just talk good
yeah,
about their husband, I think the former will win because,
yes,
there are more complaints. But because you and Suraj always maintained open communication with each other,
yeah,
it just keeps you guys going and happy on
yeah.
a day-to-day basis.
But isn't that the easiest way of sustaining in a relationship, or at least having that love? Because it's easier to break things. Can you mend it? No. We, like I said, there are a few pacts that we have between the two of us. One of them is, since we live with a family, parents are older, we do fight like anybody, any other couple, but our fights cannot go outside the bedroom.
Mm.
uh, that is something
Like
because
his parents should not know that you guys have fought.
absolutely not. No, it can't happen. You because then they would want to mend things between us, but I don't want anybody else to mend the things. We have to do that.
Correct.
Why will they do that मेहनत of अरे बेटा और बहू झगड़ा कर रहे हैं कुछ तो करते हैं नहीं पति पत्नी करो ना like that is important, right? So there the ground rule of fighting between us is the pitch that I'm talking to you right now is the pitch that we fight in
Oh my
so
God, this is
that
not
yeah
fighting.
this but this is the pitch that we
Oh,
fight
but
in
because
and
you're in the house,
because
others
we are
should
in the
know.
house. Yeah, so we are in the room, the doors are closed, the windows are shut, and then we're like, okay, now tell me what happened. and, and the moment we are outside, we are behaving like nothing happened, though we are not talking to each other. Okay, but outside when our in-laws are there, ha, acha, listen, have dinner, let's have dinner, something of those sort, just to behave that things are normal.
So nice. Like
Again,
you both are so understanding. You both are so
but see,
understanding.
why would we stress a third person because we have something which is not going right?
Hmm.
Uh, these have always been the thing. Of course, there has been fights when nobody's at home. Then though we have gone like fully bonkers. But when we know and the things like that has been very rare. That nobody's there at home, so that means most of the fight is happening with the closed door and the windows shut. No,
Damn nice,
that way.
Kavani. I mean, it seems funny, but
Yeah,
the maturity to be able to do this, have a pact that this is how we fight. People who
yeah,
stay together, they have to fight. There are no, and unless you fight, sometimes
yeah.
when you are in
And
a
it's also fun,
relationship,
no?
not,
To
I
fight.
won't say fun, but sometimes there are pent up things which just come out like that, and which is
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Which is okay.
yeah,
The thing is, unless in a fight between a husband and wife, I feel that fight with each other. Don't start
hmm.
bringing his mother, his father,
That is
her
the
father.
worst thing, I think. Yeah,
Those
yeah,
kind of things that makes it ugly.
absolutely, absolutely.
You're
See,
fighting with
it
your partner. You're not fighting
correct.
with the entire family, no?
And the moment the family thing happens, no, then you know for the matter of fact that
One person is not
okay,
happy.
this is yeah, like it's so unhappiness in the in the relationship that I think and then that is where I think the partners drift apart.
Yeah.
That is where I think then your friends come into the picture, then
Mhm.
your family comes into the picture. Another thing that we don't do is if whatever is happening between us, it doesn't get out to the third person.
Or
It
nor do
can't
you
go.
let it reflect in the way you
No.
treat each other's parents.
Eat each other's parents. It can't go like if it can't go out to his family the way we are fighting or whatever, the similar way it can't even go to my house.
Hmm.
I am very close to my mother. I tell her everything. But after getting married, these things have stopped going.
Hmm.
So because then I don't even want her to kind of have a notion about because he's an amazing person. Maybe I and him have some differences. Those differences don't have to go to her.
Yeah, because
So
she
then
has her
then
own image of him.
correct. Yeah, and she loves him, absolutely loves him.
Hmm.
So why will she have, then she's like, Array, my daughter is facing because she will think about me
Yeah.
during these things. He
Yeah.
will not think about Suraj. And that is where his impression will go down. Who wants that? So that way.
Kamini, you don't know how important this episode will be for
Yeah.
my Streellingo family because you have spoken, you are a live example of so many things that are not going right in today's day and
Yeah.
age in terms of marriage, in terms of relationships, which is why they're breaking like biscuits. Uh,
Yeah.
there is no secret. The secret is out in the open that you have
Yeah.
to be understanding, you have to be accommodating, you have to be adjusting. And none of
Yeah.
this will seem like the cuss word compromise if there is
No.
genuine love in the relationship. Thank you so much.
Thank
You were
you,
saying
Sita.
something.
Yeah, all I would want to tell anybody who kind of thinks that breaking this relationship is easier than sustaining in it. I think that at that very moment it's important to think, why did you start?
Hmm.
you
When you
know
met,
uh, yeah, like why did you start? Why did you agree to get married? There should be some reason, no?
Hmm.
And if the reason is love, nothing can break the relationship. Money will come and go, your party phase will come and go, all of that will it's going to pass by like wind. But the only thing that has to sustain and be is the friendship that you will build and the love that you will have for each other. And the second thing is about, when I say about the family is going to be different. For us, our family is always the best. The
Hmm.
next family is going to be either the second best or probably bad for you. All right.
Hmm.
But when you really in your head need to make up that, any family is literally like a bouquet of roses. You be the sunflower. That's all right.
Poetic.
The bouquet is just going to be colorful. It's not
Correct.
going to be like, oh my God, why have you done that? Until
Ah.
unless you have OCD, of course. But other than that, it's not going to be like, why would you be like this or whatever? So, as much as I want to put effort in anything, of course, the family also needs to put that effort. It needs to be a two-way thing. And I think if this is a man seeing this podcast, don't consider your wife a negative thing if she's kind of sobbing in front of you over anything or whatever. But understand, probably she is trying to convey something with her words are not able to, but understand, you are just going to make your family and her happy. That's it. And trust me, if she is happy, she's going to give you the world under your feet.
So that was Kamini for you. She spoke about so many different things: love, life, marriage, family, in laws, joint family, so many different things. I hope you're able to take something back from her experiences and imbibe it in your life in the areas that you think are not working well for you. Like she said, your marital home will be a bouquet of roses, and you can go and add that extra sparkle by being the sunflower in that bouquet. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll come back with another one soon. Thank you for watching.